Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And I am so sorry for, let's just say, technical difficulties. Whoa, that was kind of crazy. Well, I'm here. How are y'all doing? I missed y'all. Where y'all been? It's so great to see you, and I hope that you, we just came after that really big full moon that just happened. That's major. You know all about it. I told you all about it. I think I told you more than you might wanted to have known. But yeah, there you go. There's the end of a cycle. You know, technically end of a 2-year cycle. Remember, we had the North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra for about 1.5 years before moving into Pisces Virgo. So this is like technically, completing a 2-year cycle that started July 2023. So even think about like from that moment forward to now and where you are now in your world right now. So yeah, it is so great to see y'all. Happy Sunday. Here we are. Here we go. I hope that you got your popcorn, you're comfortable. We're gonna go through a lot. We're gonna go through a lot. And I have so much to talk about. I don't know if I'll get to all of it, but we'll see how we go. All right. So how are y'all doing? And I know you I just picked up on like y'all have a lot of questions. So bring them on. And again, remember any questions, I'll ask or I'm happy to answer, but remember to, if I don't get to your question, you can always like put it in, like write it again, because I'm not fancy. I don't have a moderator. I don't have any of that. So it's just so much easier. So I don't have to scroll through it again and it, take up your time. But anyway, yeah, we're coming out of some really strong energies. I don't know if you saw my last live stream. I don't know if you can hear me. Actually, it's so funny. I have my popcorn. I haven't eaten today. And so I might actually have to like, so I'm going to put it in this little thing. And while I talk to you, how's everybody doing? That was a big full moon. You're going to still feel it. Okay. Because remember, there was a lot of other things that were happening during the full moon, right? A lot of other things. And again, you know all about it. It's all in your forecasts. And you know that there's been a lot of things happening since April began, right? Even last weekend, it was a whole thing. Okay. And so yeah, let's dive deep. I hope y'all are ready. And I should also just let y'all know that there's something that's going on right now. It always happens, and it always happens with my channel, my social media channels as well. But there are a lot of like bots and people that are saying they're me and they're asking for readings. I don't live in India. You don't need I'm not going to ask you for your bank account. Like so just don't fall for that. And it's not just me. It's happening to a lot of people. But remember, we're at a time where that's amplified. Okay. And I'm still not doing private readings. So I will let you know if it ever gets to that point, if I ever get to that point where I am doing personal readings, private readings. Hopefully, that's something that will be an option. Okay. So I just wanted to put those out there, but I hope you really felt the charge of, the sun sextile Jupiter that just recently happened. We've had some enormous solar activity. How was y'all sleep the past 2 nights? Actually, even, what was it? It was Friday or Saturday. We had a really strong just Earth's frequency was like off the charts. I felt it, and then I was like, whoa. And then I checked and I was like, oh yeah, spiking right now. And so very vivid dreams. Usually when sometimes I wouldn't say usually, sometimes when it happens, it does align with like when I get sleep paralysis and then I see things too. So anyway, I hope you're working on your vision boards. Remember, really good time, especially this week when we have Mercury conjunct Neptune, we have Mars trine Neptune, visualize, vision boards, visionary, Create your reality. All right. Journaling, all of that, meditation, all of that helps. Okay. So write down your experiences, journal. It helps things come up, solutions come up. Spend time with people. Okay. That's a really great time to bond with others. Okay. That really, I told you this. I used to say this in everyone's readings when I started, is that, that is a core of who we are, right? There's a reason why we weren't built as robots. There's a reason why we weren't put on this earth on separate islands from each other. That is the human experience. We're a collective. So bonding is really important with family, with friends, with whoever you want to bond with, new people in your lives. For thousands of years, even we hunted in packs, right? From the very beginning, we traveled in packs, we slept in packs. It's a human experience. Okay. And it does, it hit those, it raises your serotonin, your endorphin, all of that. Okay. So, and meditation, I've mentioned this, it rewires your brain. You're the creator. You create your reality. And as you know, we're moving through the creator degree, that 0 degree point of Aries. We're passing through that, right? Neptune just also moved there recently. A lot of other planets got to be doing that. All right. So remember, visualize, speak things into existence. Everything is energy. Okay. And I even told you it is literal science when you visualize. Okay. Vision boards really do help activating those new neural pathways, right? Literal science we're talking about. So anyway, you're feeling a shift. You're feeling a shift, and everything is going to be becoming a lot more humanity minded as well. And so you're moving in this timeline right now where it's all about, like, what do you want to contribute to humanity, to the greater good? What do you want to leave for your kids, your grandkids? What is the world you want to leave behind for them, or for humanity, society? What is the impact you want to leave? What is the legacy you want to leave behind? Please follow your intuition, follow your bliss, follow your passions, follow your dreams. Do it. You only got one life to live. We're only here once. Okay. So, but remember, it's more about, like, the greater good, that you're going to start experiencing a lot more of that energy, especially this year. All right. And remember, if you are, an artist, or, a CEO of a company, or, you know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't matter who you are, think about a lot of the people that have had impacts that, throughout time in history. And it just one person, it just takes one person. How do you know you're not that person? Right. And even a lot of people like Herman Melville, for instance, like, he's a great example of someone who wrote Moby Dick, and nobody knew him. Nobody knew him when he had written it. It was after, where it's just like, that's when he became iconic, right? Everybody knows his work. He really had an impact on culture. Okay. Same thing with like scientists, inventors, artists. It doesn't matter. You're gonna, like, what do you want to leave behind, right? A lot of authors who, their work it wasn't until after they, that's when they became. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. All right. So that's and it really is, like, again, we're going to talk more about that because we are in the age of Aquarius. Well, I'm going to talk about the age of Aquarius too. But, with Pluto Aquarius, like, you're just going to start feeling that. And I want you to start right now, because of these overwhelming energies that you're feeling. Train your brain to be, optimistic, right? Especially if you're feeling, don't, like, if you catch yourself, like, doom scrolling or watching a lot of news, and you're like, wow, like, don't do something that brings your mind to a different place. Okay. You can train your brain to be optimistic. And, you can turn off the news, and you can turn off social media. A lot of it is, I think I told y'all, I, was a journalist for so long, an award-winning journalist, FYI. Okay. So, and no, I am, well, was, but, I can tell you, as a former journalist, everything that you read, it's all clickbait. everything. All right. So that's what media is. That's what media does. They care about the clicks more than anything. That's how they need that. That's how they stay in business. Okay. The last place that I worked, and even like everywhere that I worked, it's like you're not going to get more work if you're not getting clicks. My quota, by the way, just to give you some perspective, at my last place of employment, and it's a global meet, like everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Okay, so my quota was 1 million UVM a month. So I had to get 1 million unique monthly visitors. That was my quota. And so, of course, any journalist, any writer, any editor, it's all about what can I do with a headline to get people to click it, right? So just letting you know that, okay? So just trust your intuition on, oh, is this sensationalized? Is this something that is like fear click, or what is that called? Fear click, where it's like, oh no, like, oh, what's gonna happen? Don't do that. You already went through COVID. Like you don't do that. All right. So and that's the other thing, like you're gonna start seeing anyway, in the next few years, and you're probably already seeing it now, that it's moving out of that anyway. It's moving more toward I think more of your news, your information, things that inspire, things like that. It's more moving toward, podcasters and in like legitimate people anyway. So you get what I'm saying. So anyway, I don't even know where that came from. Work on your auras and you're going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, we'll all work on our energy fields. Your energy, I always talk about everything is energy. You have a biofield. You're connected to Earth's energy. You're connected to other people's energies. We're all connected. We're all connected. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And remember, we're moving into this new world. And I repeat this in a lot of y'all's signs, or your forecast for this week is like, don't forget, we're leaving the old world, moving into the new. It started the end of March. All right. And that, yes, astrologically, of course, that makes sense, because this is the year that all planets are changing signs, which, hey, how rare is that? But you isolate the 4 outer planets changing signs in such a compressed time frame. Yeah. And they're all aspecting. Yep. We've never, and we're all, when moving over that 0 degree point, the creation degree, the degree of like new beginnings, right? That just, we've never experienced this in modern human history. You can't trace it. You can trace it back to like that, like maybe it's happened before, the past 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years. So it's a big one. It's a big one. All right. Saturn being on the North Node. Saturn's going to be Saturn, is the world card. You know that, right? In tarot. And so just remember that Saturn is going to be with the North Node very soon. Okay. And going to be having that Venus conjunction too. Well, Saturn's been on the North Node for some time, but they're going to perfect. I'm not going to give away your ratings next week. All right. So just keep that in mind. Saturn is structures and systems are changing. Yeah. As Saturn moves into Aries in May, we're moving into some big shift. All right. That paradigm shift. And when we say, and just, there is we call it like the last gasp when these planets leave the 29 degree point into the 0 degree point. Think of the Fool card, 0, right? That's what I'm talking about. All right. That is that's the easiest way to remember this. Think of the Fool card. You're letting things go, right? You're letting things go, especially like with all these overwhelming energies. Now you're just like, okay, what's not serving me, right? What is this new journey I want to go on in my life? And how can I have faith in myself? In order to have faith in myself, there's some baggage I gotta let go, right? Because remember, he's got the satchel. He's only bringing the essentials, right? You don't go, when you go on a trip to the Maldives, you don't bring everything in your house, right? You don't bring 40 pieces of luggage. You bring the essentials, right? So definitely Pluto will accelerate a lot. You're going to see that, especially because Pluto is going to be very active too at the end of this month. FYI. All right. So spend some time really. Is anyone going through like you feel these energies? Again, we're moving into that fire and air, so you're going to start feeling good. We're out of like the retrogrades officially. Out of yesterday, officially, Venus went direct. Mercury went direct last week. Mars is no longer retrograde. Mars went direct, but will be leaving Cancer this week. So you are finally feeling fired up. You're an extra on Bring It On. All right, you're in the bleachers, you're cheering everyone on, or maybe you're one of the cheerleaders on the, like it's your story. It's your story. And so take that time, just really just put like getting centered, getting prepared for this next journey, your new journey, because you're all on a new journey. And remember, I think I mentioned this last time, maybe my last live stream or 2 live streams ago. Take time for yourself. If you start feeling overwhelmed, if you start feeling, take a step back, breathe, and the things that you do want. 17 seconds, all it takes. Okay, think about it. Put yourself on that timeline. The thing that you want, your goal, your passion, everything. Okay, visualize it. Remember, that is key. It's doing something to your brain, literally, right? 17 seconds. That's all it takes. Okay, do it a couple times a day, once a day, and then expand. Okay, from that point, and your consciousness is expanding. And I talked about that. You're going to start seeing, y'all are seeing things that y'all have never seen ever happen, right? Can we all agree? We're seeing things that have never happened. And that's going to continue. And your consciousness is expanding. And I have, discussed this, that it's a lot of things that you could never believe is just, here we go, right? And again, like I said, it's for the greater good. It's for you to absorb and prepare yourself, right? And I say, do things that you've never done before to just kind of get in the habit of like, oh, I've never done this, but now it's part of my consciousness. Like I've never done this. And so things are not, so you're just kind of, you move into it. All right. And so there is going to be even with Pluto Aquarius, I don't know, like it's just such a big thing, Pluto and Aquarius, like Pluto excavating, bringing things to the surface. There's a lot of things that you're going to discover about you as well. And you're going to feel this energy. But, with everything that's happening and the aspects that we're moving into, big, right? So you're already seeing things. You're already seeing things that, like I told you, like we only know like 5% of our observable universe. We know 5% of our oceans. We know 10% of our brain. Right? We don't really know anything about consciousness, but you're going to start seeing that soon. It's going to be 10%, 20%, 30%. Like we're going to know a lot soon. All right? And another question a lot of people are still asking, sun sign, rising sign, moon sign. Yeah. Your sun sign and your rising sign, complete your horoscope. You got to read both. You only get one part, right? So if you only read for your sun, you're only getting half the picture, because it's like they merge, it completes. And then the moon, right? And of course the moon would be a really good time, like with this, if you feel these emotional energies, moon being emotions, we'll talk about later, but just remember, the sun and rising, you need your birth chart, right? And you got to know the time that you're born. And if you don't know the time that you're born, there are ways that you can see an astrologer. There are ways to get it. There's ways to get it. There's ways to get your rising sign down to, so it's not impossible, is all I'm saying. Anyone can, it's easy. Okay. And so it's just remember that even if you're feeling like low frequency energy or blockages, especially emotionally, just take a look at your moon, read your moon sign. That's going to explain a lot. I showed y'all last time with me being a Virgo moon and how the South Node was right on it with Mars. That was right. So yeah, that, well, Virgo moon is interesting because it's very like analyzing your emotions, but there's it was opposite Saturn. Saturn is time, but Saturn's also like limits, authority, but it's also like bones, right? So I with what happened recently, because it was right on my, so after I was like, I had the flu for a month and then just so much happening. I had a injury physically and with my back. And so I've been in a back brace all week. I'm even wearing what you'll see. I don't know if you see it. Okay. So yeah, read your moon. Read your moon. That's going to give you a lot of, and that's what I do for tier 3 members. Like I do the lunations. It gives you a lot more. Did she just? It gives you a lot more additional information. Okay, because the moon is always aspecting. The moon is really important. And the moon, what does the moon do? We all know that. It illuminates, right? It doesn't give off any light. It's the light from the sun, your core, you, right? So let it we'll talk about it later. Okay. Yeah, just remember the moon is just a rock that reflects the sunlight. So it's like a mirror to you, right? So you, your true self, your identity, but emotions, feelings, subconscious, intuition, your maternal side, emotions, all of that. Okay. And the moon does go through phases as well. So anyway, we do that. And just to let you know that remember that I said last time, one could say that we are an amnesic civilization because we don't know a lot about our past. But remember, a lot of it's coming to the surface, and we're going to talk about that. But that's the thing, is that every civilization, even the Romans, worked on the lunar cycles for their calendar system. The year started in spring, like around the equinox, right? So that's how big the moon is. I'm just putting it out there. All right. So the full moon yesterday, yeah, you definitely felt the fact that we have a Pisces stellium right now, these planets in Pisces moving over that 0 degree. You're having the North Node in Pisces. You're having this spiritual rebirth. Yeah. Charged by all this Aries energy. Happy birthday, Aries. Yeah. Right now. Oh, your life is changing, Aries. You got a lot happening. And then Rahu, right? The North Node, Pisces, like I said, Rahu, the head of the dragon, right? South Node, which is either the tail of the dragon, Ketu. Okay. So I even said 2025 is the year everything changes, the year of the snake, right? The serpent eating its tail, the Ouroboros, all of that. We know what's going on. We know what's going on. So okay, now so again, you're going through a big spiritual movement. Just know that. All right. And this is a great time to really tap into your intuition and have this awakening, have this ascension. It's happening. All right. Continue to be your authentic self. Yeah. The best version of yourself. You always want to do that. I mean, Neptune, again, you're just going to have these big Neptune aspects that nobody has ever experienced on Earth. Neptune hasn't been in Aries for 164 years. And it's at its most important point right now. It's at that 0 degree point. Okay. That 0-1 degree you're going to feel for some time. And that is the world axis, your new journey, the Fool, right? You're going, and this is a 14-year story playing out for you. Remember that. All right. So right now, at Neptune being at where it is right now, that is at that 0 degree is like, it's like that true essence of Neptune and Aries, that pure potential. So a lot of y'all are going to start feeling this enthusiasm, if you haven't already, this enthusiasm for your new journey. So definitely take that step with this big paradigm shift that is happening. Okay. Huge paradigm shift. Okay. And it is just, it's just a change. That's a paradigm shift. It's a change to everything that we knew. All right. A very big, major change on how we see the world, how we see ourselves, how we see others. You're feeling that. All right. And then remember, Mars is moving into Leo next. So again, a lot of fire and air we're moving into. And I'm just very excited. I'm very excited. And I want you to be excited, but I want you to take charge, right? Initiate and just move forward with this energy. Okay. Um, and just to let you know, by the way, I do talk about the Mars Pluto opposition that will be happening at the end of the month. So remember that I said in your April forecast or monthly forecast that we do have Mars opposite Pluto at the end of the month, on top of a couple other like squares that are just a little, So just know that there's still going to be a little bit of a squeeze. Yeah. But you've got the perfect time this week just to get going, get things going. All right. So really love that. Really love that. And Mars is the solar plexus. If y'all, I don't know if y'all know that. I think I talked about that. The solar plexus, right? The chakra associated with fire. All right. Breath of fire, your inner fire, right? That's why we say fire in your belly. That's Mars right now. That's okay. So that internal cleansing, and even Thoth spoke about like that living flame, the flame of consciousness, your spiritual awakening. So just tap into that energy. Amazing, amazing. Feel ignited. All right. And use crystals. Listen, crystals vibrate. Who uses crystals? Who doesn't use crystals? I want y'all to use crystals. Go get them. They're like $1. They're $2. It depends on the what, but remember, like I just said, we literally have like biofields, right? So we're energy. So crystals like amplify. Crystals are energy, right? They heal. They unblock energy too. Every ancient civilization used crystals. They wore them. I wear crystals. Like it seems to work for me. I use them. All right. And in terms of chakras, like I would say like tourmaline, black tourmaline especially, okay? That helps balance your chakras, detoxify. I think a lot of y'all know that clear crystal quartz. That's like the master crystal. It's like the master healer. It amplifies other crystals, but I think y'all know that that's my favorite crystal. It's the one I use when I do channeling. But everyone will vibe differently with different crystals. That's why I always recommend like going into a store. And if you can't go into a store, if you live in a place where there's no crystal shops around you, I would recommend like just going to Etsy or something, and you can see them. And a lot of people that sell these, they all have like, look at their ratings. Most the good ones have like 5 stars from hundreds of viewers, and they do videos of, it's good. Okay. And that's the one, the clear crystal quartz is what I put in my water every day. Okay. So I drink crystal infused water. Tiger's eye is really, good for protection. It's really good energy. Right. So, yeah. Okay. Rose quartz. Who uses really great for self-love. Okay. It's so soothing. Rose quartz is so soothing. Anyway, I just know that there's the mineral, it heals. It heals. Okay. Your body, it heals everything. It heals. It heals. And there's more, and that's the other thing. You can even, there's more evidence showing that a lot of like science journals and medical research facilities, things like that, they're all bringing crystals back because they know that they're seeing that they like have healing powers. Okay, I'll leave it at that. But they have stem cells. They just do. Okay. So you can use that to improve your biofield, your bioelectricity. Remember, we're connected to the earth, so please spend time in nature. We're about to move into Taurus season. That's all about nature. That's all about being grounded. Taurus season. Okay. Happy birthday, Tauruses. Excuse me. And that is like healing. That's where you want to do your healing. Because Earth harmonizes with your own biorhythms. Right? Yeah, right. And you know that I can talk about this all day. I can talk about Earth. I can talk about geophysics. I can talk about astronomy. I can talk about solar cycles, whatever you want me to like. It optimizes it improves even your circadian rhythm. If you haven't been sleeping well, that Earth is going to help. Crystals are going to help. Walk around barefoot in the grass. But remember, you need to actually connect. Don't just like, oh, okay, I did it. You got to like, okay. And if you can't, like, if you live in a city like me, then earthing mats, like that's that. Yeah. So they help. Like my feet are on these. In my community post, you saw Ruby standing on one in the kitchen. So I have one in the kitchen when I cook. So I'm standing on that. It helps. It helps. And you can find the one that I use. You can find in the like description box for every video. All right. Even in the community post I did, but it's just like, why not? Right. It helps. It helps. And we are at solar maximum. Speaking of the solar cycles, right? The solar flares. And you've seen that they've been off the charts. The solar flares have been off the charts. And so what does that mean? That's another cycle. And hopefully we can get to this. And if not, we'll do it in another live stream, because I told you last time that we're in the middle of about 8 to 10 major cycles that are converging right now. That is one of the reasons why we are experiencing a year 2025 that we have no human, dead or alive, has experienced. Okay. The sheer coincidence, right? Well, I wouldn't even say coincidence. Coincidence doesn't exist. The sheer magnitude of what's happening now with all these ends of this cycle, beginning of another cycle, or being in the middle of the cycle, it's all happening right now for the next few years. So again, big. And so solar mat, we chart, or I wouldn't say we, but scientists, astronomers, NASA, there's solar cycles that we go through, and they're about 11 years. And so we just started one, and that cycle started in 2019, but there's always a peak time, and it's 2025. That is the peak year, and that's when you see a lot of activity from the sun, like these solar flares and the CMEs, right? And so it has been off the charts. Some solar flares that we have not experienced like in the past like decades. All right. So anyway, it's all about connecting, harmonizing, feeling the flow of the earth. Feel the flow of the earth. All right. And let the earth harmonize with your own frequency, your own biorhythms. Okay. And there is an element of consciousness to that. Okay. I'm not going to get into it, but there is that element of consciousness that, when I say that everything is made of energy down to the molecular level, everything in this universe is inherently like vibrational, right? I mean, we know that it's so as above, so below. Okay. And then and as today, so before. Speaking of these cycles where everything is cyclical. Everything is cyclical. Okay. So as today, so before. I'm going to make that a thing. Is that a thing? Have y'all heard that? I'm going to make that a thing. Anyway, as above, so below. And as today, so before. And one thing that would be really good is, I feel like maybe this may be a thing in the future with Pluto and Aquarius that really amplifies technology, medicine, things like that, right? Healthcare. I think that it'd be really interesting to see, because when you talk about the Kundalini, right, the life force within your body, I've talked about like hemisync as well, right? And so the frequencies that a sound is healing, and it's vibration and its frequency, but that really helps like the gamma waves in your brain, and that really heightens your intuition, and it makes you, you know what I mean, like do the hemisync. All right, listen to like really, I talked about my last live stream, so I won't go into it, but it is binaural beats. All right, you can even like you can Google that. All right, but It's amazing. Now, let's do some predictions. Whoa, what an intro. I can talk. That is my Jupiter and Gemini coming out. Or just my Gemini rising, sorry. Both of them actually. All right. So, I did a couple. I didn't. Well, here's the thing. Let me get my book. And so, there's a couple things that I wanted to just keep you. And remember, I do this just to give you a little bit of a heads up, okay? To just, again, you do you, but it's like for you not to be in, to do more like heart-based living, and just to give you a heads up and maybe answering some questions that you might already have. But the other thing is, like, again, people are still so skeptical, and we are at a time where I think that I already mentioned that there are a lot of people that are out there that, may be giving wrong or inaccurate. There's people that you just maybe on the wrong, not as, it's just trust your gut, trust your intuition with certain people that you listen to. But I'm not saying that anyone's wrong, and I should probably take that back. What I'm saying is that I think that we are at a time with Neptune moving into Aries, which you're already feeling that there can be some people that, remember, that's like delusional leader. Yeah. All right. So, and remember, your gut is your second brain. Yeah. We all know that. It's connected to your heart. Your heart has an electromagnetic field. And then, when you're connected, trusting your gut, trusting your intuition, all of that, you get the winks from the universe, right? You get all the synchronicities, you get everything. Okay. Anyway, so, well, let me pull up my books, and then do y'all have any questions so far that I can? Okay. Sorry. There is, we'll get to the question. Let me get this. So because of my injury, I wasn't able to, so the last time I did it was April 3rd when I channeled. And then I think that I told you, and I don't remember, because remember, I also had the flu before in the last live stream. I think that I told you that there is going to be there's going to be one of the main things. Okay, so I don't want this to be, again, I think that this is just more just to like let you know, okay, that there may be some changes, and there is going to be someone that that is a world-renowned name, world leader. There may be, okay, just, and I do have to leave. I'm sorry. I have some of these I have to leave a little vague and let you trust your intuition, and you pick up on my frequency, so you know what I'm saying. Yeah. But there is going to be someone who may be going through a, health challenge. Okay. And maybe a little more than that. Okay. And that was the vibe. So when I was channeling, that came in really strong last year. So I've already said this, right? So you can look at past live streams, and remember, I take photos of all this, so you can see the time stamp dates anyway. So I mentioned this, I think, in my last live stream too, but I saw it last year, and now we're here. So it'll be like soon, like within a month. And then I think that there's also, sometimes I can't read my handwriting, but I just remember what I saw or heard. Oh yeah, there's something. Okay, well, before I even get there, let me just tell you something else. Okay, so I think that I said that I talked about the earthquakes. Yeah. And I did mention, and so all of those predictions always came true because I've ever since even August, okay? And I told you even like some places. There's even one like I mentioned like New Zealand a while back, and there was one thankfully it wasn't like it was just off the coast. There wasn't like a tsunami or anything, but that was a big one. That was like 7.0. But there's still going to be some more, okay? And there's going to be a big one, yeah. That remember, Earth is changing too. Remember the solar flares, and that's another part of a cycle that I'm going to talk about if we get time to it. Earth, I told you about this, right? The precession of the equinox and how the anyway, before we so there you just to let you know, okay? And in my last live stream I said yes, like tsunami as well. So just yeah. And I did say it, then we had the one in yeah, okay, so y'all know, right? The one in Myanmar and in Thailand, it was so unfortunate. There is going to be another, so that I felt really strongly too, and I would just say like in the next few months. And then I did, oh gosh, all these numbers, I got to look them up. Sometimes like I write them down, but I never even look into it or investigate it or Google it. But I did have like coordinates come up, and I just gotta at some point do it. But so I'll even show you, like here you see the coordinates, but also that, but then that, okay. So there's I know that there's been a couple that there was, I don't think it's over. So yeah, there's even like whoosh, possibility. But remember, hey, what I do is I remember we can change timelines. I want you to know that that is very, very, very true. There's so many different timelines, right? That's why I always say you create your reality. And that's why that's going to be more of like a collective thing soon. The collective can create the future that we want, right? And so the ones that I felt strongly on the timelines now that may not be able to be shifted soon enough are the ones I'll tell you, right? And then there are some other things that I, as an example, when I did the prediction of what Springfield being a big thing last year for me, it felt, and also I didn't know what city, what state, I just but because there's so many Springfields, but it wasn't like, it was more like 50 out of 100 for me, if that makes sense. So that's why I was like, oh, I mean, this can change, okay? But these I feel like are pretty okay. And that is yeah, okay. Yeah. So those, and then let me see. I may have written some down too that I was like, because I think I was going to tell you some that I didn't tell you from the past, but like all the things that I had, like there's going to be some changes with like I felt a lot of weather stuff. By the way, I think there's going to be some more inclement weather for some stuff, but so all the predictions that I've had in the past with like even like the orbs coming from the water and all of that, there's just the finances. I talked about that too in my last live stream too, okay? So that's still ongoing, yeah. With and there's gonna be a bigger revelation, okay? Yeah. Remember, I also mentioned California a couple times. That's still with me, okay? That's still with me. And so I just don't know if California's like out of the, I'm not saying it like anything. It's just a vibration. Okay. Strong vibration. I did say Hollywood's going to be changing too. I also talked about healthcare. I talked about vaccines. I told you that, right? I talked about vaccines. They kept coming up. There's something there. And this is my older one that came up, and that's another like story that's not over. Something there. There's something there. Oh yeah, this is like way back in like there's that oh wait, this spring where this Springfield, that's the with the question mark. Oh, and then you see that so anyway, yeah, there's still something there. And just FYI, there's something that's gonna okay. And I'm not saying, whatever, just timelines can change. Okay, but it's still really strong right now. So we want to vibrate at the high frequency, take care of our health, and just be mindful of information you hear too. Yeah. All right. And then I think that, and that's the other thing. I think I told you in my last live stream when I was like, we need to talk with a lot of the things that you heard. And this is just like astrology, right? Like I said that a lot of things that you heard, you're going to hear it. A lot of big announcements were made when Mercury was retrograde. And so that's when Mercury goes direct, that's when, there's a little bit more clarity and things are changed. And so just keep that in mind that there's now Mercury is still in Pisces, and things are going to get a little when Mercury moves into Aries soon, with Mars moving into Leo soon. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right. And then I did the channeling with Orcos. Yeah. So a lot of things that happened around that time, I'd say between March 17th to about March 27th, we're going to be coming back to, right? So keep that in mind. And then so I gave you the date March 17th, right, when I was channeling. And then what happened that day? That was a day that there was someone that broke their ceasefire, and then there was the JFK files being released. I think that's not done. I think there's something else there. And I just don't think that. And then also, like, when you throw in Mercury retrograde anyway, like, you're just like, are you sure that's, so, and then there was the whole Giza thing. And I told y'all, I'm like, I just don't think that's done, that story. And I don't know if that's something that I think there's going to be a return to that. But that's the other thing, by the way. I don't know if y'all know. And I think that was also blown out of, because here's the thing, even with that discovery, a lot of other discoveries have been made at like Giza and the pyramids and the platforms, also like the pyramids like all over the world that, for decades, even in the past recent years. And so a lot of them alluding to like, oh yeah, there's something under. So it's not, so we all know there's something underneath it, right? And there's more evidence now, scientific evidence and research that does sort of show that there's a more high probability it wasn't built by Egyptians. And I'm not confirming or denying that. I'm just saying that there's a lot more evidence coming out. And I think that I did tell you that like a lot of things that we thought that we knew in the past are going to change anyway, with a lot of things coming to the surface anyway. Just to let you know, that's why I'm saying just like prepare. This is your consciousness expanding, new things, new ideas. Time is definitely speeding up. All right, so one thing that no, it's a popcorn. And then you saw a lot of things happen, right, with the beginning of April. Yeah. Okay. Even that first weekend, there was a lot of different things happening right now. All right. Does anybody have any questions that are I'm just like hello everybody. Oh, Melissa. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. You're amazing. Oh my gosh. You just thank you so much. That totally made my morning. Wow. Thank you for that super sticker. Love and light to you and Ruse. Melissa, you're amazing. Love and light to you too. I really appreciate it. All right, so I want to hear from y'all. I want your questions. I want to know what I can answer. Okay. Anything. Okay. Because again, for time reasons, also for other reasons, I do hold things back from my channeling sessions. But I know things. And I shouldn't say I hold things back. I just like I can energetically feel when it's the right time to tell you certain things, right? So just remember we are at a juncture point with a lot of different cycles ending and beginning right now, right? Okay, so any questions about anything that's going on? Let me pull up. Is there anything that I'm gonna just really quickly look at like my notes for next week and see if there's anything that's also really important to like bear repeating. Oh yeah, there is something here I'm gonna tell you. Okay, but let me see. Hannah, okay, so I'm seeing a question here. I have a question about interpreting birth charts. 6 of my houses start in different signs when I look at the placid system for whole versus whole sign. Okay. Does this change how I interpret general readings? And that is a really, really great question that everybody can take away from. So, yes, there's so many house systems. You would not believe it. There's over 100 house systems. Whole sign is what, it's the ancient, it's simple, it's, yeah, Placidus, but you have to remember, like, when we think about ancient astrology, we're talking about 2,000 years ago. And so that talk about precession of the equinox, right? That's part of one of the cycles I'm talking about. Like we're entering the age of Aquarius. We're leaving the age of Pisces, right? So that's a 25,960 year cycle that we call the Great Age. And each, cycle that we're in is about 2,160 years. So we were in the age of Pisces for the past 2,160 years. We're on the brink of the age of Aquarius. But if you think of it just physically, like astronomically, it means that Earth is now facing a certain constellation after 2,000 years, right? With everything, okay? 2,160 years. And so that's what changes. That's what makes everything, like Vedic astrology is different. There's without going too deep into it, it's what resonates with you. And I know that's because you're gonna meet a lot of different astrologers who are very fiercely whole sign. This is the only way, right? And it's not. You're gonna meet a lot of astrologers who are like Placidus is all that. No, it's not. It's you have to have a level of intuition. You have to have a level. For instance, great question. 6 of your hearts. Even with me, yeah, I've got. I think it's 6 as well. So my birth chart, natal chart changes massively. The house system or the houses that the planets are in when you switch from Placidus to the whole. And so it really is trusting your intuition. Yeah, on what has resonated in your life. What do you feel, right? Because it's still going to be, because it, even though it changes houses, it still kind of hovers at that degree, right? So that could be, you could be feeling a little bit of both. Yeah. So that, I hope that answers your question. It comes down to your intuition and what makes the most sense for you, what resonates with you the most. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, is that okay that I'm eating popcorn? Like I just have it, like I haven't eaten all day. It's been a whole thing. I'm just gonna have one more and then that's it. Okay. Um, okay. So, it's so great to see everybody. Um, Carrie, another good question. Great to see you, Carrie. Moon part is emotions. Yeah, moon is a lot more than that. It's emotions, it's intuition. It would be even like your nurturing side, your maternal side. It's the subconscious. It's a lot. And that's why I sometimes remind you in your readings, there's gonna be weeks, and again, it all depends on you and your charts and like how you're feeling too. There's gonna be weeks that the moon, the lunations of the week are gonna be stronger than the planetary aspects. Some people are gonna feel the moon more than the planets. Yeah. And the asteroids, which I always do in the second spread, but I will give you like little nuggets here and there in your reading and forecast if there is a strong lunation. And just to give you a heads up, the last 2 weeks of April, there are really strong lunations where there's gotta be some moments. So yeah, but yeah, just baseline is feelings, emotions, but again, a lot more than that. All right. I hope that answers your question. And it really it depends on the aspects. The moon goes through aspects every day. Most days. Yeah. And then the moon is void. And so you never want to like sign contract. There's a whole thing. All right. Okay. And your question was rising. Oh my gosh, who am I? So what is the right? Yeah, so rising is a sign that is where the sign was. Okay. It's where it was on the horizon when you were born. And without, again, getting too technical, the aspects are aligning. The aspects that I say for the week, for your readings, are aligning with your rising. However, that's why you want to read both, because the aspects, all the aspects, but all the planets, they're always communicating. They're speaking with each other. And so the sun is you. It's your core. It's your identity. It's who you are. It's your all of that. And so one could even argue that your rising is your personality. But it is the sun. It is your personality. But that's another argument that astrologers could make. It's both. It's both. But rising is like how you want to be seen. It's how the world sees you. But it is really the aspects. But again, that is just very general because it all comes down to your chart and your birth chart and the degrees that things are at. And so that's why you want to read both, because you wouldn't even have rising without your sun, right? Think of the sun, your sun sign fueling everything that you do. So that's why you even with the aspects, you'll still feel your sun's involved, but it's just some people resonate more with the rising, some people resonate more with their sun, some people are both. A lot of people, when especially when you get older, out of your 20s and more into your like 30s and later, you realize that there are going to be moments, there could be weeks that you feel you resonate more with your rising. There could be weeks it's more sun. There could be months that you resonate more with your rising or your sun. And there could be months and days and weeks where it's both. So you always want to just merge the two because it tells the bigger story. It tells the full story. And so rising is I highly encourage it to read your rising, because if you're watching just for your sun, and I used to, when 3 years ago I was doing these and people would leave comments or like, oh, nothing happened for me, like based on what I'm like, well, did you read your rising? And then there was like, oh my God. Right. So that you want to read both. It completes the picture. And I've given you examples of, even though that I am like, Gemini rising, for instance, right? And everything's, the aspects correlate to that, and also your moon, right? You want to look at your placement of your moon. It's so important. Is your moon squaring another planet? Is it squaring an aspect? Is it I've had Neptune opposite my moon for a year now. I'm coming out of that. Your moon is just so important, and that's one of the like what. So yeah, it's a big thing. But you want to if you can, all three, but sun and rising completes the full picture. And I even I think I gave a great example of it's for me as an Aquarius. There's Ruby. As an Aquarius, even with, let's say, like last year, good example of when Jupiter was in Taurus, right? And so for all Aquarians, that means that they're going to move. They may have moved. They will move. They'll renovate, right? But then Uranus, Aquarius' ruler, actually moved into Taurus in 2018. So a lot of Aquarians moved twice, 3 times. That has nothing to do with my rising. That's my sun. And every time Jupiter moved into Taurus, I moved. Every 12 years, I moved. Uranus moved into Taurus. That has nothing to do with my Gemini rising. Well, it does. A lot of it does. All right. But still, you see how it's still, the aspects still they have impact on you. They have impact on you, on your sun. And so, yeah, I'm, again, I would be shocked if there was an Aquarius that did not move since 2018 or twice. Because Uranus is like, I'm going to shake things up in your home sector. And so I moved twice and on the verge of 3 times. But anyway, so you see, that had nothing to do with my rising. Those are aspects that are happening with in transits with my sun. And so it's affecting my sun too. So you want to watch both. That was a long answer, but I hope that, Alyssa, you asked, can you make a video on how to get your rising sign if you don't have your birth time? It's a process. And what I can do is I can recommend astrologers that do that. Okay. There's a certain process for it called rectification. And I'll do that. I'll actually, let me put in the comments here. Okay, I left it in the comments. Okay. And so, yes, it's because it is time consuming, but it's so accurate and it works. And like any good astrologer can do that. If you don't know your birth time, there's so many things you can look at. Okay. You can look at your personality and look at like, where was the moon that day? Right. And so then you kind of just match that up. So it's a lot of little, just kind of like tweaking things here and there, but then you eventually get to it. All right. Anais, where goes, I hope that helped. Where goes Mars from Cancer and Leo? Are aggressions going higher? Yes. So did you read your current forecast? I'm going to leave that there for you. Okay. Because I talk about it for about 15-20 minutes in your current forecast. And yes, it's going to be, you're going to see some things. Fireworks. It's fiery. Mercury in Aries is fiery too. Sun in Aries is fiery. All right. So, all right. Are there any other questions that, I wish I could get to the cycles. I'll do that next time. But, in terms of like what these big cycles are, there's so many cycles playing out right now. It's hard to actually keep up with the cycles. And it's not just astrological cycles. There's more that's happening that I even just told you that are bigger stories that are happening. But again, geophysically, there's things that are happening. There's even other ancient cultures and their cycles merging with what's happening now. Again, it can't be coincidence, right? So, okay. So, oh my gosh, Adele, thank you so much. Thank you for this super. Y'all are amazing. Okay. I don't even know. Okay, so Adele, you're amazing. Hi, you said, hi, Jimmy, been strongly contemplating a move. Should I move now or wait 6 to 12 months? Also, where can you purchase your birth chart? You're sort of new to this. You're Virgo. You're Virgo. All right. Well, you're going through a lot of change. You got that, and this is for, again, like everyone is going through change with the South Node in Virgo. And remember, bears repeating the entire year, but also just last week, especially. But it's releasing anything that makes you just hard on yourself. That self-critical energy. It's like over analyzing things. Like that's South Node of Virgo. And again, what happened with the South Node with a Virgo moon on top of the South Node? That is going to happen every month, right? But there's going to be different aspects. And the reason I harped on that one is because I saw Mars and I was like, okay, that's so anyway, your question. Well, with a move, it's trusting your intuition. Like I can't tell you, when all of that to move. So you trust your intuition and you'll have the answers. Get some crystals, you'll have some answers. But it really is like when I say trust your intuition, you got to feel it in your bones. You got to know. That's when you know you're tapping into your intuition, because we all have intuition. We're all wired with it. But are you accessing it? Are you connecting with it? When you connect with it, right? And then in terms of purchasing your birth, you can get it free online. And then I'll give you a website here that is a great one to get your birth chart. Okay. And so that is a good website. You just plug in your details. All right. Miss Virgo. And by the way, if you are September, I mean, you are going through change, and you are, I wouldn't be surprised if you move, just to let you know. And I wouldn't be surprised if you also just have, I mean, like, listen, this is again for everybody. When we talk about September, right? That's just a few months from now. That's when we have the lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, right? With the nodes, the Pisces and Virgo. So again, big changes that are on the horizon. So, okay. Garden, what if your rising and sun are the same? That's great. You just need to read for that. That's amazing. But pay attention to the degrees too, right? Like for and your moon. Yeah. So, okay. Cindy, thank you so much. I'm just like scrolling through now. I'm like, okay, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for all you do and all you give. Please take care of yourself and stay healthy. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Cindy. Y'all are amazing. Carrie, thank you so much. That was a perfect answer to rising signs. Well, I'm glad. And there is also a video, if you want to really get into it, like there's also a video that I did with SJ Anderson, who is amazing. And he, we did you can find the live streams, but we talked about rising signs, but that's going a little bit like that's if you're new to this, because that's very comprehensive. It's about an hour, and it's really, really great. Okay. But remember, every astrologer has their different ideas about rising signs and charts and even aspects. And like it's like, think about teachers in school. Like there's, you go to different school. Some schools may have better teachers, or in your certain school that you went to high school or college, like you had teachers that were better than others, right? It's just like who you're connecting with, and everyone has a different method. Okay. All right. So M. Lopez, it's great to see you. Oh, how do solar flares affect us? Yes, look at my last live stream. That's all. I mean, like I go in depth on that. Okay, but remember, they affect Earth. They affect our everything. They affect here. Like we are made of energy. Everything's made of energy, and we're connected to Earth's energy and Earth's frequency. But I mean, they can have an impact on your circadian rhythm, on your dreams, on, you know, your sleep. But then you throw in the fact that you had Mars and Cancer too at the same time. That was like very like sensitivity, right? Let's just easy way to say that. And that can also like even affect your, you know, Ruby, what are you doing? Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Scotch, Scottville. What kind of crystals do you suggest? I just mentioned them. All right. So you can go back and do the look at the transcript, but I mentioned them at the beginning of this. Those are the ones. And then if I were to add, I mean, those are great ones for now. All right. I wear chalcedony. I mean, anything that, again, it really just it's your energy, but the ones I mentioned or how you connect with crystals, they're going to be different for everybody, but and for different purposes. But the ones that I mentioned, like at the beginning, good start. All right. Um, all right. So is that Elisa? You've got how do I know? Okay. That's more of that's yeah. I'm not gonna unfortunately I'm not gonna do like those like on your specific chart, but um trust your intuition. But honestly, like reading your question, the biggest thing coming in for me is like, what are the actions you're taking for that to happen? So that's just me coming. So focus on that. And if you are taking like really great, again, everything from this point forward is going to be night and day from the past few months. Everyone's going to feel a lot more confident, a lot more self-belief, a lot more like my way or the highway. So like less self-doubt. Like it's going to be night and day. Like January till the beginning of April was like sludgy. So Elisa, you'll feel it, all right? But definitely take that action. And it's almost like I don't have to tell you to take like inspired actions because you're just gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it. The energy that's gonna lift you right now. It's like you're gonna be in high gear. You're gonna be in high gear. You're gonna be using it and you're gonna feel it energetically. And that's why I'm so excited about this week. Okay. But then remember, we do have those squares, an opposite, like Mars opposite Pluto, right? Like y'all remember what happened so Mars opposite Pluto is one of the it's a really hard aspect, okay? And we had it, the last one was you know, January 2nd. So think about what happened around your life around that time. All right? But that, and it's such a strong aspect. You can feel it a week before, a week after. And yeah, it's gonna be, so that's coming up again, but thankfully it's the last one. It's a storyline that was playing out since November that we've been feeling, and we're finally leaving it. It's the last one, but there's a lot of other aspects that are happening on top of it that are right. But I talk about your weekly in your forecast. I'm actually doing what next week. I'll do it for the rest of April because it just makes more sense for what's happening. And we do have a new moon in Taurus. We have a new moon in Taurus. Y'all, that's going to be a thing. Okay? It's going to be a thing. All right. So, any last questions? She's sitting here waiting for y'all to see Ruby. So, any last questions before, and then next time we'll talk. I'll walk you through the Ruby. Who's that? Who's that? All right. Ruby, you want to say? She's like, no. Next week or next time, I will walk you through these cycles. There are so many happening that are big, and I will break it down because some of these, like, you're gonna just know, like, oh yeah, okay, oh yeah, that, oh yeah, yeah, that's okay, that's a thing. Oh yeah. And a lot of it, like, I just don't think you may know about that. I'm gonna go over, okay? Because again, there's so many cycles happening right now. Do y'all, and I'll just tell you one right now. I'll tell you one right now before I go. I don't know if you know that even like if you're in the US, like the US is going through like a big cycle. Yeah. The Pluto return, America's Pluto return. We're about, our every return, right? Our Uranus return, that's going to be we're going through it, pretty much going through it, but it's going to be Uranus moving into Gemini, 2 months. Is it 2 months? Anyway, there's a lot of different cycles that, remember, everything is cyclical. All right, everything's cyclical, and we'll talk about this. Any last questions about anything? Cindy, you asked for prepping. General area of earthquake. Oh, for prepping. Well, like I said, I just don't think that there's gonna be some. It's like they're big ones, and so, but it's more. I think I mentioned last time. I felt more over in Asia region again. Okay, but I would even say West Coast, because California kept coming up, and I'm not saying that there's gonna be. I'm just saying that if any, it's just like, just be mindful that there may be even like water stuff. Okay. But it's not, listen, that's just and here's the thing. Anyone that wants to do any, like, I'm not like an expert in like prepping. Like, I don't, so I would probably, okay, let me think about this. I would probably do like maybe move to higher ground. Yeah, that would make the most. But you can't. But that's the thing, is like you can't really like it, But I don't think that it's gonna be like you're fine. I don't like that's you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be good. I wouldn't even. Don't even. It's just more giving you a heads up that like this is gonna enter your consciousness soon. Okay. Is there anyone that is there any that but that's a good question. I didn't even know that was Marshall, you asked, you like Grant Louie? I don't know who that is, but I'm happy to Google. Elisa, you're gonna go buy a lottery ticket. Go do it. Go, you live once. Go get even like $1. I'm gonna start saying this in your readings, every reading. All right. How do you know you're not that one in a million, right? How do you know? You don't know. You create reality. You make it happen. And you just don't know. And when you got luck involved and all of that, like, hey, things happen, right? Some people who are even like famous, like lucky, like would just happen to be there, like, certain time, certain day. That's who am I thinking? There's a lot of celebrities, a lot like Natalie Portman just happened to be in that diner when, like that director. Actually, good one is Chris Pratt was a waiter and just happened to be serving someone in Hollywood, I forgot, right? So how do you know that you're not gonna, that's what you have to believe yourself, just be open, do things, be open-minded to things that are all these amazing things that are gonna happen. Like Leah Lee. Hey, Leah Lee, you say March was freaking horrible, all caps. So looking forward to this month. Yeah, remember, we're coming out of really strong low energy frequency, moving into really high energy frequency, which is really great, but it can be really fiery. All right. I talked about that. It can be a lot of egos, a lot of pride. And remember, I did say there's going to be a big announcement next week. Oh, I didn't say that, but there's going to be a big announcement that you may hear where you are just like, what? Let's keep that in mind. But hey, you're still on your journey. All right. Nothing stops. You got to keep doing what you do best, right? Vibrate at that high frequency. Okay. All right. So, oh my gosh, I gotta go, y'all. This one, I'll talk about the cycles next time, and then more stuff and answer more questions, because this just I'm looking at the time. I'm like, I really, she's got to go to the bathroom. I gotta. Okay, y'all are amazing. Y'all are amazing. Okay, y'all are amazing. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your weekend, your week. Have fun with this week, with all this fire and air. Mercury's going into Aries. That's a big thing. You're going to be fired up. That's confidence. That's like, gimme. That's like, I want this. And like I said, y'all deserve it. After what the energies we've been going through, y'all deserve it. Go get your destiny. And remember, it's next week when we have the North Node conjuncting Saturn. We have the North Node conjuncting Venus. We have Venus conjuncting Saturn. So it's like after April 20th when we're in Taurus season. That's like, all right, big. I'll have your forecast out this week. Y'all are amazing. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you for the super likes. Y'all are amazing. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. And yeah, and if you're watching this, but anybody, listen, y'all are good. Okay, remember, believe in yourself. You got this, right? You even see. Okay, y'all, thank you so much. I will see you. I'll see you next time, but we'll talk about these cycles because they're big. All right, have an amazing weekend. Have an amazing Sunday. I will see y'all soon. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.